Welcome everyone, this is Pokemon Red Remastered, the speedrun. And for any Pokemon speedrun, right away you want to go straight to the options, and what I did there is I set the text speed to fast, and that's clearly what you want for a speedrun, and set those animations off because without the battle animations the battles will go a lot faster, and you want set instead of shift because Shift will ask you to switch Pokemon if you have more than one Pokemon after every battle, and that's not going to help you with the speed run, so you don't want that. And what I'm doing here is naming all the characters one character letter. Because you can in the first generation, I'm just going to go ahead and name everything blank. You cannot do that for any other generation, so what the hell, let's take advantage of that badass thing that we can do here and name everything blank. And as I said, you want those one character letters because with more than one character, you're going to have, the text is going to be a lot longer because it has to bring up all those characters in your name, and that's not going to help with the speed run. And in case you didn't know, I've done Pokemon Yellow, Dark King speedrun, Pokemon Ice Cold Blue speedrun, Pokemon Green Ganja speedrun, and Pokemon Red Demon speedrun. And this is the Pokemon Red Remastered speedrun. I'll be providing a full commentary as I play. I'm sitting here with controller in my hand as I explain things, and for the first gen, Squirtle is always the best option for a speedrun, and Charmander is still pretty good, but he's not the best for speed, and you don't want Charmander for a speedrun, and definitely not Bulbasaur, and Bulbasaur is absolutely the worst starter, and that's why you want Gary to have Bulbasaur as well, and that's a good thing that when you get Squirtle, he gets Bulbasaur, because Bulbasaur has a really bad moveset, and he's the worst of them all. And so right away here, we're just going to go straight to the battle with Gary. And after this battle, I'm going to check the stats to see what my stats are, and based on your beginning base stats, you can determine what your EVs are. In case you do not know what an EV is, basically it's your exponential stat growth, and it can be anywhere from 11 to 13, 12 to 14, 10 to 12, depending on what your original stats are. You can determine what those EVs are going to be. And so let's see what those stats are right here. Okay, so not great, but I think attack and special was both 12, and the only stat that truly matters is your special, and since my special was 12 there, we're just going to go ahead and carry on. Sometimes you can get your defense up to 14. I think it was like 11 or so. It was really bad, but so right here, we're just going to go carry on through here. If you run into a Rattata, you want to go ahead and just fight that, and the reason why you want to fight this Rattata here is because you're not going to have enough experience when you get to the Weedle, the level 9 Weedle in Viridian Forest, if you haven't fought any wild Pokemon. And so that's why you need to fight one. Rattata is by far the easiest battle, so I mean, go ahead and just fight one of them if you run into one, like I did there. And if you can, you don't want to run into the least amount of encounters, the better for the speed run. And right away, we're just going to need to go to the Pokemart, and that's where you pick up Oak's Parcel. You got to take Oak's Parcel back to Professor Oak, right where you just were to begin with, and that unlocks the route to Viridian Forest, and without returning this parcel here, you cannot progress through the game. So, just going to want to carry on down. If you run into any wild Pokemon like this, just run away. And, my strategy is just to go straight on through the grass and continue forward. Sometimes you run into wild Pokemon, a lot of times not. Some people prefer to go around the grass because, in fears of running into wild Pokemon. I like to take risks whenever possible and just go on through the grass and take the fastest route possible, period. And I don't like to go around and shit, so you know, I'm a risk taker in that sense, but here we just go back to Professor Oak, return that Oak's parcel. Gary's gonna show back up, and Gary, let me explain. He's basically a douchebag, prick, asshole, jerk, and you know he just acts like he's better than you. He's got a big ego. He just, you know, he likes to think that he's better than you in every situation, and he likes to brag a lot, and he likes to, you know, shove things in your face and be like, you know, like smell you later or some shit. Like his phrases, his lines are absolutely just ridiculous. He's a really fucking fucked up character, but basically he's just an egotistical jerk. So get the Pokédex from Oak right there, and then when you return the Oak's parcel, that unlocks the pathway to Viridian Forest, and that enables you to continue forward, and that's what you're going to have to do every time, so that's what you need to do there. And we're just going to continue on up, avoid as many encounters as we can, and as I said before, now that we have returned the parcel, that guy that was laying right next to that girl is no longer there, and you can continue on up the pathway to Viridian Forest. And I like to go through the grass, as I said before. You know, some people go around that. I've seen it before in speedruns, but I like to just take risks and go through the grass and see. You know, if a wild Pokemon shows up, what the hell? At least I'm taking the fastest route possible, and that's how I think of it. Right here, just going to continue on up. Here's an antidote. Is always going to be there. You're going to want to go ahead and grab that, because there's going to be a lot of Weedles that can potentially poison you early game, and you know, the one coming up here, and if ever you get poisoned, you're definitely going to want to have an antidote on standby just in case, because that, I mean, it takes more time to just sit there and get hurt to those poisons, and you often die sometimes, and it's really bad to be poisoned, so you want the antidote. And right here, there's a hidden potion right next to the trainer. It's along the path of where we're going, so I mean, why not take a free potion while you can? And now we're going to finally get to that level 9 Weedle, and my strategy here would be get a few tail whips in. I mean, a lot of people like to spam tackle a lot, and that's all I see a lot. And me, I think by far your best chance is to get a few tail whips in, because that will make your tackles more efficient. And I've been poisoned, and that's kind of pissing me off. I'm going to go ahead and have to burn that antidote after this battle, and you know, as I said before, that potion is pretty down. You might as well grab that free potion, because you're probably going to need it, you know, for this battle, if not definitely for Brock coming up next. And you know, that's why I always, you know, stress to grab that potion next to this trainer. So here we go. I've got 3 tail whips in. Now he should be an easy 3-hit tackle KO. And the reason also why you want to use those tail whips, oh fuck, there's a crit, but yeah, crits will be less effective if your tail whips are in, because it negates all effects, even positive effects such as lowering defense. And you need to learn Bubble there. You need to be level 8, and you want to skip the 2 levels so that you do not go through 2 level up progresses, which is a lot slower. And you know, normally I would go straight to Brock here after winning that fight, but since I've already had to burn up that antidote and the potion, I would advise to go to the Pokemon Mart before going to Brock, even though, you know, you got to take a couple spaces to go out the way, but you're going to want to get that stuff anyway. And you need 1 escape rope when you go in here, and you might as well get a couple antidotes. And you're going to need like 3 to 5 Pokeballs anywhere in that range, and then we're just going to go ahead and grab the rest in potions, because you're going to need those potions early on so that you can lower the amount of trips that you need to take to the Pokemon Center. The less trips to the Pokemon Center, the better, because those Pokemon Center trips will they just take a lot of time, and you do not want that for a speed run. And right there, you saw I went to the left of that trainer. You do not need to fight the trainer here. You can just go straight to Brock, and Brock is pretty damn easy if you have Squirtle, and that is definitely why you want Squirtle as your starter, because he should just be 4 bubbles right here, 2 for Geodude and 2 for Onix every time. So just get that bubble in. Defense curl is going to be absolutely useless because defense does not negate special moves. Special is all in one stat. In the first generation, there was no special defense or special attack. The only thing was special, and that was the only stat. That's why I love the first generation for being so classic like that. And basically, all your special is going to be one stat, and that's why I stress that you want to have a high special, because your exponential growth will be determined by your original stats, and you need that special to be good. And so now you just want to. Brock was pretty damn easy, as I said. It should be about 4 bubbles every time. You can walk right down past the trainer after the gym, because now he's no longer activated. He's no longer going to battle you at that point. And so I'm going to show you a 2-part piece. We're going to go through Mount Moon as well, and this is where you get those early trainer battles in, and this is where you get your experience from these trainer battles. So I mean, you don't want to waste your time with wild Pokemon. You want to get those trainers battles in, and my strategy here is to get a Tail Whip in. As I said before, your PP management at this point. Tackle is your only offensive move besides Bubble, and you want to save those bubbles too, because we're just going to go straight on through without any Pokemon Center trips, and that's the idea here. And as you saw there, it's just a nice 3-hit tackle after 1 Tail Whip, and it's probably going to take you 4 to 5 tackles if you do not use that Tail Whip there, and that's why I stress to get these Tail Whips in. And I know people rarely take use of those Tail Whips, and they're very useful early game if you know what you're doing and know how to use it. And that Weedle was a 2-hit kill because of the Tail Whip. So I mean, that could have been 3 tackles wasted, but I saved a tackle or 2 there. And that's what you want to do. You want your PP to be managed very well, and that's what's happening here. So I'm just going to go ahead and beat this Bug Trainer. Get those tackles in. Your speed's usually going to be slower because they use String Shot a lot. But before the next battle, you want to definitely get a potion in right here. You want to be close to full health at most. And we're just going to go ahead and move that potion up here for later references, and because potion is going to be the one that you're going to be using the most, besides the bicycle. When you get the bicycle, that's definitely the one that you want in that first slot there. But the potion is definitely by far my most useful item at this point. And here's Rattata. He has a pretty high attack, so I mean this could present a problem here in a lot of situations, especially if you're missing your attacks like that. And there's a Tail Whip, so I mean I'm gonna probably want to get a potion in here because he could possibly kill me with 1 hit here. And next up after Rattata, we're gonna have Ekans, and Ekans can potentially wrap you a lot of times. And a lot of speed runs I've done, Ekans has wrapped me, or and it takes like a lot of times 2 to 3 turns for wrap to subdue, and if you get wrapped, it's no big deal. I mean, it happens a lot, but there it is. Speak of the damn devil. And I mean, when you're wrapped, you might as well get another potion in, because you're not going to be able to do anything else, because that wrap just keeps on continuing. I mean, it's pretty dreadful to go through those wraps, and there's 2 in a row, and that's a pretty bad. That is really bad. But after those wraps, finally, after he finally stops spamming wraps at you, get through Ekans. You want to, and that is the hardest battle in my, I would say. As long as you can get past that battle, we're pretty much good through Mount Moon here. And, that's gonna be my first video is Brock and Mount Moon, and so you can either fight this bug trainer here, this bug catcher, or you can fight the lass. It's depending on preference there again, but by far I see this as being a lot faster. And here we got poisoned again, and the good thing I've got a couple antidotes for backup, and that's why you want to get a couple. That's why you want to stock up on a few antidotes early game, because Weedle a lot of times will poison you, and it will just fucking drive you mad. And so for the Kakuna, you want to bubble, and that negates his Hardens, because Harden does not, as long as he's raising defense, that has nothing to do with your special stats, because special is an alternative move aside from attack and defense. And so I'm just going to continue on through there. There's a nice crit. And defeat this Caterpie here, and then you get Metapod. And we're going to do the same thing with Metapod as we did with the Kakuna, because he's just going to keep on using Harden. That's the only thing he knows. It's all he can do. And there's a nice crit again. And so those defenses, as long as he's raising defense, it does absolutely nothing, because Bubble has nothing to do with defense. And so another thing, you want to talk to the trainers as opposed to walk by them, because the exclamation mark takes a lot longer than it would be just to talk to them. And a lot of times, like, I'll take an extra space to talk to trainers, and it's better not to get that exclamation mark, because that takes a lot longer for that. I mean, it's like a full second for those exclamation marks to come up, and you don't want those. And so we're just going to go ahead and take out this Caterpie here. Level 15, very nice. We're going to get Water Gun as well. Water Gun is by far the most useful move at this point, and you want to go ahead and use Water Gun on Metapod, and that should just power right on through. Nice 2-hit kill regardless. And those defense, as long as he's using Harden, that's not going to do shit, and that's all he knows. So Water Gun's a sure bet there. So you want to walk through the grass here, and the reason why we're taking an extra step through the grass is because you need a flying Pokemon. So you might as well catch it now, and whether it's a Sparrow or Pidgey, it really doesn't matter. I'll take either one, and just gonna go ahead and weaken him and throw a Pokeball, see what happens. Usually it's the first one you throw, you'll usually get right. You see, it's no big deal, and I just name everything blank, and that's the theme here. And so if ever I use Fly, it'll say blank use Fly instead of Pidgey, a 5-letter character name. And there's Sparrow. I like Sparrow better than Pidgey. Who would have known that I was going to run right into Sparrow right after Pidgey? I would have took the Sparrow, but it really it makes no difference which one you get. They both can learn Fly, and that's all you need it to do, and that's all its purpose is. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that Pidgey here, and no big deal. It doesn't matter what you have. It's all the same. So here is Mount Moon, and the problem with Mount Moon is that there's no repels at this point, and repel is absolutely your best friend in a speed run, and because there's no repels yet, and none of the Pokemon marks sell repels until Cerulean City, which is after Mount Moon. So basically, you're just gonna have to either, fight. I mean, in a speed run, clearly you're just gonna want to run away from all these battles and just keep on going through and go around the trainers just like that. And here we're gonna want to go down here. The reason for that, we need Mega Punch. Now the reason why we need Mega Punch is because you need to go ahead and teach that now. And you want that instead of Tackle, because Tackle is absolutely just useless. And the reason why you want Mega Punch is because Misty, you want to just go ahead and go straight to Misty before going through Bill. And the reason why you want to do that is you want to get Bubble Beam. And to get Bubble Beam, it's really hard to beat Misty with tackles, so that's why you want to get that Mega Punch in right there. And I'm just going to go around all the trainers there, move on through this Mount Moon, and there we have a Paris, and you can use Paris for your bench, but there I killed it. So you can either use Sandshrew or Paris as your bench, either one, and they both work for bench Pokemon. So I would have went ahead and took that mushroom right there and ate that mushroom, because if you catch that, you can use that as your bench, and I would no longer need any more Pokemon at that point. And I should not have Mega Punched him. I should have, but I think I had Bubbles. I should have bubbled and used a Pokeball there, but it's all good. I'll probably get Sandshrew like first couple times anyway, and that's usually who I get anyway for the bench. Is Sandshrew. So you just want to go on, as I said before, you don't want those exclamation marks. You just want to go ahead and talk, even though it took an extra space out of the way. It's faster than using the exclamation marks, and so that's why I did that there. And we're in a little bit of trouble here. You can go ahead and heal on up. Rattata, he is a problem. Early game, I guess, because those quick attacks, and he'll learn Hyper Feign later on too, and that takes like 20 to some health every time, and it's really annoying. But gonna heal on up again. Hopefully I don't run out of potions early, because that would suck. But it should. Yeah, sometimes Mega Punch misses, and that's its biggest flaw. That's why I usually don't like it, really, because I mean its hit percentage is so damn low, and a lot of times you just get fucked. But right here, this is where you should evolve every time if you've done everything correctly. And you're just going to want to go ahead and get those stats. You want those stats, so that's why you're just going to go ahead and go through that animation there. And might as well go through this right away. And here's the fossil guy, and this is the last battle before exiting Mount Moon, and this could be the only problem, I guess. And Mega Punch should be working for you, and that should be the best thing, but as I said before, its biggest flaw is it misses a lot of times, and it's very frustrating to have that happen. And their bubble was disabled, so that can't be used. But Water Gun is better anyway, so I probably wouldn't even use bubble at this point. And Just keep on using Mega Punch. It is, I would say, the best move at this point. And whenever you level up, if you do not bring the stats up, it is faster through the battle if you do not get those stats. And if you memorize the jingle, you can pretty much every time get that without watching the stats, and that is a little trick too for speed. And just go ahead and take this bitch out, get the super nerd out, and you got to take a fossil. So it does not matter which fossil you get. I don't even think it matters at all which one you pick, but just grab a fossil, and that concludes Mount Moon for you. And here's that Paris I was talking about earlier. We're just going to go ahead and catch it before I conclude the video, because that will be my third and final Pokemon, and it will make it so I do not have to catch Sandshrew next video, and that will help out a little bit as well. And so just going to want to go ahead and weaken that and throw that Pokeball, and hopefully we get him. Yep, and there I got my mushroom. It's one of my other favorite Pokemon, and you only need this for cut and dig and whatnot, and that's going to come up later, and that concludes that. And so this will conclude my first video. Stay tuned for the second, and we will continue.